I better shut up.
Hello, welcome to Midweek Gaming, and I forgot to do something, so hang on a minute, people. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Hello. Welcome to Midweek Gaming. We've got a stacked panel this week. We've got the first time, I believe this is the first time I've ever done just the code panel members. Who's listening to the show as well? Oh, I'll stop now. I believe this is the first time I've only ever done the actual panel members. It is. What's a rare one? How are you?
Indeed.
How are you, Removal Society?
I'm doing.
Landed yet?
Has it?
Oh, yeah, I think it's landed.
Oh right, okay. Again, I'm doing well, but I'm hoping my headset isn't going to mess around. I'll keep an eye on the chat because I know India will tell me if it's sounding dodgy.
You do have an echo.
I think someone else is listening through their phone. I think it was Tushi.
I'm listening from my phone, but everything's silent.
Because I'm still getting a reverberation in my voice. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it too.
It was when Tushi turned up.
It sounds fine on mine.
Oh God. Is it still? Yeah, I can still hear myself. I have no idea what's going on.
You're fired.
Probably.
Yeah,
I'm doing okay.
Oh, that's good to hear. That is. Yeah, Pong Soul, Mr. Tushi is why this show was delayed.
Yeah, sorry, I had to take a shit.
I wasn't going to say.
You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go, ain't you?
You had a bit of a crazy journey today.
Yes,
was that you reverse? Did you have to reverse someone's car then?
Not today. I've done in the past.
Because to be fair, I'm terrible at reversing. I can do it, but if I had to do it down country roads like that, the way you were under pressure, I buckle. I do.
I've had to reverse a lorry about 3 miles once down the lanes.
Well, you're going to be a good driver, though. You're a HGV driver, aren't you? You've got to be.
Yeah, you got to be. You've got no choice. Because I went down these lanes and stuff, and I realised that when I found out it was the wrong village I was in, there was no way. There was
no way to quickly turn around, is there?
You can't turn around anywhere. So the only thing I could do was reverse back, and I was going for miles. It was horrible, and there was cars everywhere. It was all right today, though. It was about 20 miles of just crazy lanes.
That way.
Buses, tractors, everything in the way.
Sounds like you were in my area.
Yeah. Makes me feel like I don't get paid enough.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't know what's going on with the echo, people, but I've got a headset on. I've got no sound on in my room at all. So I don't know what the echo issue is. It's not my end.
Everything sounds quite normal, mate, here.
My echo's not as bad, though.
You might hear some noises from my birds today because they're still awake.
It's all gone quiet.
I can hear some like chirping or something. Sounds like a budgie or something.
Oh, is that better? Is that better? Am I echoing? No.
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 Well, I've stopped.
I've turned. Oh.
No. It's just even delayed.
Oh, I've turned echo cancellation off. I better turn echo cancellation on.
How's that?
I don't know what's going on. Well, do you want to try and come in and come out again?
Yeah, I'll go first.
God, got a right
Bye.
cock up this week, haven't we?
It's a bit of a weird one. See,
Wait
it
a minute,
stopped.
you're not echoing.
It,
You're not echoing now.
it's Tushy. It's Tushy.
Pong Soul's noticed. It's Pong Soul.
I told
What's
you.
up, Pong Soul?
No one believes me.
No. Because there was no problems before Mr. Tushy joined in.
Oh, don't say that. He'll never come back now.
No, well, he's back now. Let's see. Shall I let him in, people? so there was no. The echo's back. It's Mr. Tushy.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
the echoing stopped. See, Pong Soul just went. It's Tushy.
Hang on. If I press mute now, does it go quiet?
Everyone talk.
I don't know about that.
Hello.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's not echoing.
Yeah.
Right. I better set my laptop up then.
Oh, I'll see you in a minute.
Give me 5 minutes.
Are you all right?
So there's no update.
Oh no.
You know what he says that he's just off to get a quick Nulla Savaloy. That's what it really is.
Welcome, VJ. How are you doing?
Not too bad, thanks. Thanks for having me back on the show. And looking forward to a good couple of hours and see what we're reflecting on this week.
Yeah, no, it's a week that we've only got a panel on. I think it'd be good. It was suggested
A week before Christmas.
A few weeks back that we do a couple of shows with no guests on just to see what it's like, you know. It'd be like basically nearly a Sea of Thieves. No, that's funnier. A Sea of Thieves party. You need to join Removable. You've got to. You don't realise. VJ, should I do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not pirate.
Yeah, I've got the best pirate in the world.
Welcome, Assassin Looper. Welcome, Pong Soul. Welcome, Mishuki. Welcome. Let's have a look. Go back up the list. Welcome back from the dead. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're all doing well. So yeah, it's been a good week. It's been what day? Wednesday. Well, it's midweek. It's been a good week so far.
Yeah, it's the week before Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the week before Christmas. It is the week before Christmas. It's a bit of a random one, this one. It should be good. It should be. Have you played any games? Removable.
I have. Yay! For a short period, my parenting was paused, and I managed to play some games. How's that? That's amazing. It's a bit of a strange one. I finished off probably one of my favourite indie titles so far this year, and it's called Haven. Really good game. Has a fantastic storyline, and it's really cheap as well. I really absolutely thoroughly enjoyed that game, and currently right now at the kind of promotion from HR Bomber, Lady, and Fork Gaming, I have been playing the preview of Outriders when it works.
Game,
and
I'm not in the alpha skip, but in general, it does look a good game.
Do you know what? When you play, well, I managed to play a bit more of it today rather than the big problems which we've been having, which was hard resets. I mentioned it on Twitter. We've been having some pretty bad hard resets. But once you're in the game, you pretty much are in the game, unless there's something major happening and then something kicks you out. But I will say, I'm going to put it down now. I reckon this is a Destiny 2 beta, which is it is really good. The skill trees, the weapons, this unique world that it's set in. I was really surprised. I've the graphics, well, average, but the gameplay, I'm getting slightly addicted to it, and it didn't get me until probably Destiny 1. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's another. Well, I know you say Destiny 2, but it's another game for a service game, and I have a problem with. I think that the developers need to give up on this model, because to be honest,
Well, I don't think no. When I say I don't think it's a service game. I think it's an actual game.
Oh, is it?
That
Okay.
yes. No. What I'm playing through at the moment is there is a consistent story within the game, and then you can play with 3 other people as well. And I suspect they may evolve little side quests into it. But generally, it's this seems to you can play through single player, no problem. But it seems to be much more fun in terms of combination of powers and elements with more people. And that's what I'm gauging so far. Again, I've only had about 2 hours with it, but I must admit, it is. When I say Destiny, it's just it's the powers, like the actual the screen usage. I'm not sure words coming a bit wrong at the moment. Like the hub where you can zoom around your character and use that little circle that flies around. It's almost identical to that. It's got a very sort of similar style in terms of the character hub, character creation elements, the emotes in that regards. But the character itself and the abilities and the tiers seems to be much more user friendly. I was surprised. I probably speak to, if you look on probably Will Be Hood channel or have a quick chat with Fork Gaming, they seem to have gone into it a hell of a lot more in depth in terms of knowledge, and it's really just watching those YouTube clips that kind of said, okay, this looks intriguing. And as I said, I played the preview of it, and so far it's really good.
They wouldn't be allowed to do that. It's in the alpha skin.
They Outriders has been releasing information about the game in terms of trailers, weapon builds, gameplay, and they've been covering that. In terms of the preview itself, we are not allowed to discuss it in any format other than it exists, or are, in my case, my struggles with trying to get into the blooming preview build.
Well, no, it sounds good. The reason I said that, but I hope it's not another like games of service, because I'll be honest, there's gamers that play them kind of Destiny games, and there's only so many people to go around. You know what I mean? And they all generally are the same people that jump from them games. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
I know.
Obviously, it sounds like a campaign-based game, so.
This the best way I could describe it right now, and again, please be aware, as I said, this is only 2 hours worth of experience on what seems to be a very, very early build. It seems to be a cross blend between Destiny and Gears in terms of the way your cover system works, the way you can get up close and do some damage, as well as you can step back. It seems to have like the abilities and powers of Destiny, but with the cover system and kind of weight of the weapons and your, rushing across the map of Gears in terms of its third person, and it's basically where you butt up against the scenery and look over things.
Well, it's good to hear you enjoying it anyway. That's the main thing. It is.
Yeah.
When you can actually
I was very surprised.
That is.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Indie Gamer. Welcome Shizno Elite. Welcome Dragon Wolf. Welcome to God's Geeks. Let's have a look anymore. So what have you been playing, VJ? I know what you've been playing, but you might as well tell me.
Well, I don't know.
I've been playing this very meretricious game, and it's called Cyberpunk.
That's good.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
No, well, I'll give you a brief synopsis of it if you like. It's exciting, stimulating, busy, stressful, loud, aggressive, even complex. Puts your game to shame.
Sounds like Friendship with Stubbs.
Oh, really? I'm putting to shame your game. The games that you were getting on about.
I presume that. Welcome.
Sorry, Stubbs. Did you just see how efficient I was versus?
Yeah, you were very quick.
Versus removal, but being totally inefficient.
You said it very quickly. You did.
100%. So how you been finding it? Does it meet your, well, how are you finding it in terms of, is it meeting, I would say expectations, because I don't think did you have expectations for Cyberpunk?
I don't really have expectations for games per se. You know, I often ask the community, you know, whether it's the indie gamer, sometimes I think Assassin Loop also chimes in, you know, the chat, Masuko, yourself, you know, I even ask you, you know, about anime stuff, right? Unrelated to games somewhat. And, you know, so, and if someone else has enjoyed it, I don't mind giving it a try. There's just so many games out there. I don't really have a preference for a genre. Having said that, I do like Japanese RPGs. I'm a big sucker for Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's what I really enjoyed. Ghost of Tsushima. I did have some slight reservations with it being developed by a Western company. But it turned out to be really good, and obviously Dragon Quest is another big favorite of mine, and obviously another series that you're getting familiar with is obviously Yakuza Like a Dragon. So all in all, Mr. Stubbs can tell you I've very much enjoyed my time with CDPR's latest project. So I know it's not smooth sailing, but what has been recently, and as I said to Mr. Stubbs, I said, look, you know, I said about 3-4 weeks ago in this very show that I said, look, I've got a real sort of concern that the ambition of the game in terms of Cyberpunk is it's not going to hold up well on last gen, and it's not. It is pretty ambitious, and anyway, I think we're going to be getting into bits and pieces about Cyberpunk anyway, so I guess we'll talk about it. But for me, it's been fantastic, and obviously, whenever Mr. Tushi and Mr. Stubbs and Al Animated Evil's been available, we've been on that pirate game.
Yeah, it's a really good laugh. The Sea of Thieves is, you know, but I do see why the game got criticised when it was released, because recently the Twitter account released a picture of before when it was released, and now I can see why it was heavily slammed and laughed at. I can. It looks it looks like a children's game. It really looks like that level graphics. You know.
Yeah, they have significantly increased it. Yeah,
they have. They've gone above and beyond. I tell you. I mean, sometimes that they say, "Where's Stubbs gone?" I'm stood there looking at the sea because it looks that bloody good.
Unless you've fallen in.
That first time I played it, I was on is it the back of the boat? You have that big pole you can stand on the front. Is it the front of the ship?
I think it's at the front. It's the part. Is that front?
Yeah, I stood on it and I fell in.
Oh my goodness!
I did, you know.
But you're enjoying it though. It's giving you the enjoyment you thought it would.
Oh, it is. But I will say one thing: it is best if you've got a crew.
Yeah.
You know, if you go on there randomly and try and play with randoms, you're going to be out of luck. And Mr. Tushi, I'll be honest, he's quite a good leader when it comes to the ship on what to do and which direction to go. And he'll go VJ 20% to the right and north, you know, full wheel lock. He's very good at it, I tell you.
He deals with big things. He knows how to handle big things, you know. Especially not his own anatomy I'm talking about here, but we're
with his 18 wheeler.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Welcome back.
No echoes.
No echoes.
We're just talking about how much of a good ship captain you are on Sea of Thieves.
I'm alright, but I still fuck up, don't I?
The odd time we crash. Yeah. It's not always your fault, though.
No, we do alright. We all work as a team. That's the aim in the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Me last night, I fell asleep for 12 minutes last night.
We was in a cave doing a quest, and Stubbs fell asleep. He's standing there, and we have to leave him in the cave.
I woke up.
Why does that not surprise me in some case? You know, there is this.
When I tried to get through the cave, it took me about 20. Was it 20 goes? In the end, I done it though, and I made it out again. Well, with Mr. Tushi's help. That is. Welcome, Guy
It just-
Anonymous. And there was someone else.
Was it the Scarlet
It was
Pimpernel?
me.
There was.
Is it two she?
No, somebody toked. Where is he? His comments
Double
disappeared.
Double toke.
Welcome, double toke. And welcome, Guy Anonymous. It's Medical Madness from Twitter. Oh, all right, mate. Welcome. Yeah, ship captain. Sorry, it may have sounded like shit captain the way I said it so fast. But he's very good at
I'm a
reading.
shit captain as well.
The captain.
I think both apply.
But no, it is good fun. I also got killed by a couple of sharks last night as well. So, you know, no one else did though, just me. You know.
Well, you're not supposed to pet them. That's probably one of the reasons.
Yeah, I know. Welcome, Lee Murray King. Thanks for stopping by. What have you been playing recently, Mr. Tushi? I
Games
wonder if your number one fan will come in. Did the account that was named Tushi or Touche?
Touche. I don't know. I ain't seen him since, or he or she. I haven't been on the Xbox that much this week. I've been doing a lot of work.
Look, I'm sat down. I've fall down hearing that comment.
And in 3 days, I've done 42 hours at work so far, so it's a bit crazy.
So it's getting a lot of stuff in for Christmas, isn't it? The deliveries and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just bloody delivering all sorts of shit everywhere lately. What I've been playing, I've had about 2 hours on Cyberpunk the other day since the weekend, and we've been on Sea of Thieves twice this week. That's all I've played this week so far.
Yeah, I have to, because I was meant to come on twice this week. I only ended up being once because I fell asleep again. You know, it's like people. I sit in this chair all day because I can't walk at the minute. You know, but I do walk around the house. Well, I hop around the house with a frame. You know,
and don't forget you do bum the stairs. And now that may sound strange to people, but it's the actual movement.
I do have a bum stuff upstairs.
I want to see him come down.
How I do not come down on like like little kids do on the bums, go really fast. No, I don't.
It's got his little tray. There you go. Straight down.
Actually, that's like
we should start calling for now.
Look at them snow sleighs. You come down on the snow sleigh, but I might hurt myself if that happens. So
knowing your bloody luck, you'll break the other leg, so don't bother trying.
I won't try that. No. Well, during lockdown this year, I hurt my wrist because I fell down halfway down the stairs with my wrist, but I didn't break it. I just bruised it badly. I broke my tibia and fibia in my left knee / leg area. I think that's it. I mean, I can't see what else going wrong. It bloody better not do before the year bloody ends.
And your luck, you'll probably choke on a penny in your Christmas pudding or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do Christmas pudding. No. That's a big question. Who on the panel does Christmas pudding? Who likes it? I don't.
I like it. I don't make it.
Like it. Do you like it, VJ?
No, I'm afraid not. I'm not
2-2. No winner.
Well, I couldn't let the peg leg pirate down, could I?
I can predict what Stubbs going to do next. Sorry, I think he's going to fart and pull his back out or something.
I so enjoy this podcast. It's just totally professional. Let's keep it that way.
Welcome, Invader Gaming. Welcome, I Still Reign. Wait a minute. We're not Double Toked does not know what a Christmas pudding is. Well, Removable, as you like a Christmas pudding, you can explain for him.
No. You can invite him round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably an American. He said it's probably an American thing. It's probably called something else there. I don't know.
Is it? That's the way I understood it. And again, I'm not 100% sure here because I just
So what
eat
they
the
put?
thing. I don't really, I don't really kind of worry about the ingredients. Well, unless of course it has got a bit of alcohol. It's, I think, if I remember correctly, it's a long. It's effectively a cake that's got sultanas, raisins, has some alcohol in it, and it's then kind of marinated for a long period, and then it's cooked. It's in almost like a dome shape, effectively.
Yeah, that sounds like
Traditionally, then we let set fire to it. It's, I think, as far as I'm aware of, it's. I don't know. Well, maybe trying to think of another cake, another dessert that you set fire to. I'm trying to think of what it's called. It begins with flam. Can't think of it. It begins with F anyway.
Wait a minute, I've got it on the tip of my tongue. Flemme brûlée.
So that's flame brulee. That's it.
I'm
Yes.
saying it right. I don't know, but I just thought of it.
Yes. Yes. It's a dessert. It's a pudding upon which you set fire to, and in some cases, is one of the main causes for setting fire to your house. So it's quite good.
I'll do that with beans on
And it's often said it's well, it's true, yeah. And it's often filled. It depends. It also is filled with some alcohol, and depending on tradition, some families put coins into the pudding. I think they stopped doing that after quite a few people started choking on them, though.
Is it often combined or offered with a side of
ice
what's
cream.
that sweet mixture with the milk and sugar? Custard.
Custard. It can be done in custard, cream, ice cream in some cases,
Savoys.
or if you're a real gannet,
Savoy,
have
come on, Mr. Tucci had to say that, didn't they?
yeah, Savoy's, or a chocolate fondant or something like that. You know, it goes with anything. To be honest with you,
I think custard's probably far more traditional from when I was growing up reading kids' books in elementary, well, not elementary school.
Apparently, they're saying in chat that you're talking about creme brulee removal, Santi.
creme brulee. Yes, that is 100. That is true. Yes, that's the one. That is it. Yes, where they burn the top. Well, slightly burn the top, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
Speaking of custard, do you
Yes,
remember
you
that mint
are
custard
correct.
at school?
Oh,
Mint custard and
you
rock
mean
cake.
the one with the
I
skin?
do not remember mint custard at all.
Oh, we used to
No.
fight over the custard skin at school.
Oh my god!
But what about rice pudding skin? That's really good. A proper
Oh, yeah.
homemade rice pudding.
This sounds all too modern. And back in my day, we used to have bread pudding, and that would be it, and we'd love it.
Bread pudding or bread and butter pudding?
Well, we didn't have butter back in my day. No, we had bread pudding, and we'd be happy with that.
I'm not even going to try and guess what your attempt there was of an accent.
Tried a bit of a really bad Yorkshire accent. It really failed, probably
We
quite
need
badly.
Luca on for a good Yorkshire accent. You do.
That's true.
I'm hungry now.
When
are you
when
hungry?
not hungry?
You literally had chips, a chicken and mushroom pie, and Savoys.
2 Savoys, lovely.
And that was
I
only
have
about
half-
20 minutes ago.
I had half the fish as well.
Double Toke said, "Man, all we got over here is fruitcake, not money pudding. I'm sad now. I bet he could find Chris's pudding. I bet he could find it somewhere.
I reckon, yeah, I reckon so.
I can make it for him.
VJ's a fruitcake.
Thank you.
Fruitcake's good.
Yeah, but he's our fruitcake. We like
It's my
our fruitcake.
fruitcake.
Yeah, Pong. So it's a bit of a random one tonight. We have got topics, don't we?
Yeah, we have
Have
got
we?
gaming topics. We're not just going to talk about food, even though that is predominantly on a lot of our minds at the moment.
You can see the main midweek gaming DM. There's only us 4 in it, and the majority of the time it's talking about food. And Mr. Tucci showing us pictures of what his latest takeaway is, and stuff like that.
The trucker's life is described in detail in our DMs.
Stubbsy,
Yeah.
Captain Stubbs. If any drilling takes place, not the sort you're thinking of, Mr. Tucci. If any drilling takes place, I'll be on mute, so you'll know anyway. So you know what's going on.
VJ, could you fill people in on what happened? Because some people in chat are under the assumption that you're poorly.
Yeah, I've got a headache at the moment as well.
Oh, you
So,
have. Sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought
I've
people.
got- Yeah, I just got a bit of a headache, and I've got some emergency work going on in the house at the moment. And yeah, let's just say they are flattering to deceive in terms of the quality of their work, but I'll get it sorted.
Oh my
Thank
god!
you.
There's more leaks in that floor than there was in the ship last night.
No,
that
there was
way.
plenty more. There was plenty more leaks in that shit. Believe me.
We just got a comment off Pure Humanity. One day your channel will be really famous. Best message. Thanks for that. Not too sure about that, but we do it all for fun. We do. Thanks for the comment anyway.
These subs, you have to have a dream.
Yeah, well, we're live on Twitch, everyone, as well, by the way. If you didn't know, this live on Twitch. Welcome, Infinite. Thanks for stopping by. And also, what I forgot to say at the start was, if you want a good gaming website to go to, you might see it in the top right-hand corner, the BG4G Hub logo. Go to www.bg4ghub.com for independent news, reviews, opinion pieces, podcasts, and so much more. So, Cyberpunk.
Let's get into the topics. Hey.
And just for the panel, please can you not spoil it for people that haven't played it? As in, main story spoilers.
You mean me?
Removable Sanity's partner has it wrapped up upstairs. He's not allowed it until Christmas Day. He's not.
When you open it, take the discount, then wrap it back up again.
To be fair, though, I don't know if you'll be playing it Christmas Day because you're going to have some.
No, that's the irony. No, I won't be playing it actually Christmas Day. It'll probably be at 2 a.m. in the morning on Boxing Day.
It'll be the update. Plus, you've got the Christmas Day rush because not all parents think about that.
Go on the Xbox app and download it. Download it. Just download.
Most sensible parent should, when they get
the
console, should download the game and set it up first. But you always get a rush on Christmas Day of people downloading. You do. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm not too fussed because, to be honest with you, that Twitter has been a sea of information, regardless of whether I try and avoid it or not in terms of Cyberpunk. And I'm actually kind of enjoying a lot of the photo modes which is coming out. It does absolutely look stunning. And from what I can tell, it definitely looks like it visually on the photo modes at least. I don't know what platform they are. It could be PC or it could be the next gen. They do look visually. It does look rather quite beautiful. I don't know if you guys who have been playing it have found the environment quite endearing.
it is on the Series X. Definitely.
It's definitely the opposite. It's definitely the opposite of wearisome and drear.
It looks a lot better with it on your TV than it does on Twitter. Put it that way.
Yes.
Saying that, do you see that video that Still Rain put on about the knife? That looked pretty wicked. That did.
The knife.
The what knife?
Yeah, he's just going around slashing these guys and stuff. Look pretty. I got to try that in this week sometime.
Oh, you can have a katana, can't you, or something, and go around and use that as a weapon, if I remember correctly.
Have you not tried that yet, Mr. Tushi? It's really good fun.
No, I've not used a knife in the game yet.
Also, people, VJ has a tip for you now. They don't tell you about this. Tell everyone your Cyberpunk tip, Mr. Tushi, VJ.
Oh, if you hold down the left trigger, obviously, typically it's combined with the right trigger to shoot. If you hold down the left trigger in any conversation, any cutscene, even if you're sitting in the car or walking down the street, start tapping up on the D-pad. Start tapping up, and you can zoom into all sorts, even into people's faces, and take photos. I think you can take photos in a zoomed-in mode. I think you can. But I thought it was fantastic. I took a lot of photos last night just for myself, just to have a look at the detail of the NPCs and everything. It's quite magnificent. But the game doesn't tell you that you can do that. Either that, or I completely missed it in the tutorial.
Or that, or you found a good glitch.
Well, I don't think it's a glitch. I think it's actually been done, and the sort of how close you can actually get in front of an NPC's face or someone that you're having a chat with, and so on and so forth. It's really, really good, really, really detailed. And the reason why I came across it because I found something that allowed me to forge a sniper rifle. But I thought typically when you're playing a sniper rifle, you can either click down on L or on R3 or L3 and then zoom in, and I couldn't find anything to zoom in. So so then I just tried to press everything, and I thought, hang on a minute, what's going on here? So my gun disappeared, and I was just able to zoom in on everything, and it works constantly, so it's not a glitch. Because this was like a couple of days ago that I realized you could do that. But going back to what Removable was saying in terms of how great the game looks, I find myself using this function across any new NPC that I come across, because there's such a variety of sort of robotics and so on and so forth, and implants that people have had done to them. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
I mean, I mean, I'm hearing it's a bit. Twitter's always been the extremes, and with generally from what I'm hearing, it's either the extreme people are hating it and absolutely certain things are hating, and then other ones they're absolutely loving it. And in some cases, people are just saying they're like, you know, it took them what 30 to 40 hours just for the prologue.
No. What's happening is I'll explain it, because
I'm like, what?
No, it ain't that. I was speaking to HR Bomber. What it is some people are actually doing all the. Your phone starts ringing, basically going crazy when you're driving through your city. Every man and his dog wants you to work for him, and a lot of people are just going with all the side quests instead. So when they say some people want to do all the side quests before they hit the main campaign, that's what's happening. Because I asked him, how are you 20 hours into the game and you haven't finished the main prologue? Oh, I'm doing all the side quests first. He says, but I don't know if I ever get through them. There's that many of them.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Have you played The
Witcher? So it doesn't limit it then per story. It is actually, from the moment you start, the world is your oyster, effectively, in terms of what you can progress with.
It's slow to start with, but eventually, once you can do, obviously you have to do a few of the main storyline missions first. But I presume there is an option not to do them as well. But when you start Cyberpunk, you have to, you literally have to go what you're given to start with, I think. And but at one point, when you get so far in the game, your phone bleeps all the time. You can be on way to missions. It bleep, 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 bleep. I'm so and so. I hear your V. Oh, and all this and that. It's good because I feel the game is really good. I mean, I haven't see the problem is I haven't experienced any issues with my Xbox Series X. Touch wood. I haven't experienced any problems with Cyberpunk. One glitch, and it didn't bother me. But I found out it was in the training mode. There was a stealth mission, and I couldn't tag players.
Yeah,
and that was I didn't know it was a glitch. Stupid me, until Centurion told me it was, and that is so far the only one I've noticed. Unless I just haven't noticed because I'm enthralled in the game and I'm enjoying it, and I don't. Some people, if you're that engrossed in the game, you won't, even if you see a bug. Because you're that engrossed in the game, you won't see it.
You won't register it.
You won't register it. So I'm having a great time on it, you know, to be honest.
I said a quick question. Sorry. There's Mesuko in the chat said, I'm a bit disappointed that VJ's story did not end in crazy 360 no scoping action. I wasn't quite sure what that meant. I wasn't sure how to reply to him.
I think he's, you know, because another character's called V. I think Masuku's called in the character VJ instead.
Oh no, yeah. Every time they say Mr. V or V, because that's how I'm normally called, and like it's like, oh my god, they're talking to me, but no, it's not.
Everyone's thinking of you, VJ.
Yeah. No.
You're playing as VJ. Is that what we're saying?
No. That sounds really weird. I wanted to ask you, Removable, I wanted to ask you, what is it that people hate about the game? Is it the visual design? Is it something to do with the world design? Is it to do with anything specific? Because I think that'd be quite important. And if you can't remember, it's not a problem. But
it's to be honest with you, I always take things with a little bit of pinch and salt with what I'm hearing. And again, this is stuff that I'm just seeing on Twitter, so we know Twitter. Things can be exaggerated to.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know what it's like. It can either be a generic, it can be a common, non-specific, broad brush. You get it all on Twitter. I just wanted to see if anything like particularly, you know, sort of caught your eye that maybe we could possibly worth discussing.
would say at the current stage, well, what the thing that I'm seeing on a regular basis is that it is the amount of bugs seems to be more than what they were expected. There are visual issues at the last gen of consoles, but to be honest with you, I think after watching Digital Foundry's video, you can understand the reasoning behind it. Now, they might be able to tweak it, some of the settings to try and get those graphics a little bit more stable, but the last gen is struggling with it. And from what I'm hearing from PC users, again, I'm not a PC user myself, but what I'm seeing from PC users, even at the high fidelity ranges, even with the pretty good PCs, are struggling with this game in trying to get it at a stable frame rate or very high-end visuals, or a mixture of both in some cases. So it does sound like the game itself is a very kind of power heavy game, regardless of what platform you use. And I think that set aside, there does seem to be the general gist that people are just annoyed with the bugs. And then the second one, which is almost as equal in terms of ferocity of tweeting about, is how CD Projekt Red went about issuing the game. In terms of literally their stance, not the apology afterwards, but their stance prior to that. I think that has, some may have felt they've lost a bit of trust in the actual development, the actual CD Projekt Red themselves. I can't say whether that's warranted or not, because I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit more forgiving with CD Projekt Red, because they have proven themselves previously to at least. Go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say that the reason is because they've got historic credit in the bank with a lot of gamers. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And that's where I'm a bit more forgiving. They're not like EA, they're not like Ubisoft, they're not like Activision in those regards. Who pump out games who I would say consistently, because that's probably a bit too overzealous, but on a more regular basis have caused problems from games. Yes, Witcher 3 didn't come in perfect. It did have its bugs as well. But regardless of that, they seem to always try to be pro-consumer and go overboard in, I wouldn't say compensating, but getting the best product out there. Now, clearly there was a management issue. And I think anyone in any developments, I think we spoke about this previously. My fear was this was going to be a management issue. They weren't going to listen to the devs. They were just going to go, let's get it out.
I see. I don't think that's, and I can understand it's a management issue to a degree, but I think it's more of the corporation. Let's just look at it as a corporation. They had no choice but to release it. And for me, I think that a lot of people are missing the point that I think that Sony and Microsoft are just as culpable as because there is no way I could ever see Sony, from the Sony that I knew, and even Microsoft, that with their technical checks and TCRs, that they would even allow a game to come out like that. But I think that 10 million copies sold, 8 million, 10 million, I don't know, even if you take half sold on console,
it's 8 million pre-orders. And it was pushed through.
Just for easy mathematics, let's just say they've sold 10 million, right? They've said half is on PC, 5 million on console. That's anywhere for the console manufacturers. That's anywhere between 50 and 90 million in terms of royalties, right? Either if it's physical, $10 a unit, anywhere up to $18 for a physical release, right? 30%. So I think for them, first of all, it's the money. Secondly, for CDPR, look, let's release it because we just can't hold on to the product anymore. And I think that they've got an obligation, not just to the consumers that have bought it and that can't attain a refund, but also to their shareholders, where I think people saying there's a certain amount of value that's been wiped off of their their evaluation, right?
It was 8 billion or 8 trillion or something like that, because it dropped by about 8 points or something. If I'm
I think
8%.
I think it's a completely calculated risk from CDPR, and they knew what the fallout would be, or potentially could be, and I think that they would have had layers of contingencies to deal with everything on a, this will happen. They don't just walk blindly into this. This is what happened on day one. This is what we'll do. We know X amount will, if it's worth $50 to $90 million to Sony and Microsoft, well, you can calculate, right, how much it's worth to these guys. So I think for them, it's a case of also, but then from a consumer point of view, even though I can understand the fact that, look, on these systems, it's nigh on maybe unplayable, right, on Xbox and PlayStation, on the last gen systems. But from CDPR, they have no other releases to fall back on. They're not EA. You mentioned EA and Ubisoft. They have other games that they can fall back on and let a specific IP or game tank and not help it along. They've got no fallback plan. There is no Witcher 3 in the horizon. There is no other game for the foreseeable future.
Oh,
so they've pretty much
got Witcher 4. They have.
Yeah, but I mean that's not anywhere in the realms of being released anytime soon, right?
No,
this would be at very stage. This would be, it'll be almost, I would say,
their income stream for
this
next
would be
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, this would be idea area territory right now. You've probably got people creating ideas in their heads of what potentially to go saying this is nowhere near development, or even this would be say concept stage. That's the wording I'm looking at. Concept, very early concept stage.
Concept
this at the moment now. Yeah. I think right now. Go on.
Sorry, there was something else you mentioned about the management. I think looking at the Witcher 3, of course, anyone can chime in, and then looking at Cyberpunk.
If you want to chime in, you can.
Yeah, I think I think we're seeing some of the weaknesses within their production pipelines that are rearing their heads again with this game, and I don't know if it's the game engine or if it's their certain processes. We can see one of their strengths about photo mode and how great everything looks and how beautiful. We know that their world building and planning on that is fantastic. I don't have any issues with the dialogue and the narrative and so on and so forth. And even I can see there's been improvements to their animation systems and so on and so forth. But there are places within the game in terms of when you see certain things and compare it to The Witcher. I don't know if Digital Foundry or anyone like that will spend the time to do it, but you can see where they haven't improved over the Red engine over the 4 or 5 years, and we've also seen that they don't. It seems to me that they've gone back and changed things, fixed things, and they haven't allowed enough time to polish the game because. Last year, I think it was almost a year ago when we saw it, when the delay started to kick in, right? Was it last year, November or something? And they delayed it to March or April. Then April went to September. Then September went to December or something like that. So it really concerns me. Do they realize where their production team is weak? Is it in QA? Is it in optimization? Is it PS4 or PS5 coders, and so on and so forth? But definitely, it'll be interesting to see if they continue with the Red engine or migrate over to UE5 or something like that for production purposes. Because
that also doesn't take into account.
Sorry.
Well, it also doesn't take into account the drivers and the next gen systems being released periodically throughout that year as well. So they're probably getting dev kits, and they're trying to work around those aspects, or even they probably would have got some sort of specs as well, being filtered throughout that year. I mean, that's itself's not a easy task.
No. I mean, console. Sorry. No, as Pong Soul says something, Facts been talking about this in the chats past couple of days. There's a risk. This is the risk of an independent AAA studio. This ambitious game should have skipped a generation, but CDPR couldn't afford that. And I think the point he's making is valid, but I think that 2 years ago, even a year ago, they had no idea how many units are going to ship, right? So if they were going to release it for next gen, it would have been a PC-only release. I think that, and I speak to Stubbs, with what is it, 100, 150 million consoles out there between Xbox One and PlayStation 5. Exactly. They were never going to give up that market. And I think by releasing the game, they've earned what they could from it, and maybe they will continue to earn from it going further down the line. But as a corporation, I think that what they've said is that we'll take the hit and we'll just rebuild from there. And they're using the credit in the bank in order to sort of help them move forward, right? And again, we've talked about the development costs, right, and the government funding and the grants and stuff that seem to come about. So I think they're in a healthy position. It's just a case of, can they rebuild? Like, was it Mr. Tucci who said, or you said that can they rebuild that trust back with the fans? But as I said, a lot of fingers been pointed to them, but I point to Sony and Microsoft. They are normally very, very rigorous, and there's no way they should have just and the other thing I've got here, right, if there is that many issues with the game and everyone's acknowledged it, why is it still up for sale?
Exactly. Should be pulled off the market.
Yep.
Should be pulled off the store.
Well, this is it, yeah. And I think, in fairness, I think the majority of gamers either or seem to be really enjoying the game, and I do seem to be seeing a lot of this game's really good. I'm enjoying my time regardless of the bugs, and at the same time, I'm also seeing reviewers saying, "Look, this is unacceptable." Now, I can understand both sides of the street. If you're not having any issues, bugs, it doesn't matter. It's not going to bother you. If you are hypercritical or hyper, I wouldn't say sensitive, but hyper astute. And that's what majority of reviewers and journalists are. You are going to look at every tiny aspect, and I can understand also that it shouldn't be this thing shouldn't be acceptable. The reason, I think, for me, as I said previously, the reason I'm a little bit more forgiving. If this was EA, it would be, I'm not buying it. I wouldn't even. Well, to be honest, I probably wouldn't even dare touched it in the first place. I probably would have held off until almost like a year down the line. With CD Projekt Red, as you rightly said, they've got my trust in them to do it. Did they handle this badly? I suspect yes, they did. There was a PR issue. They didn't allow people to showcase off their own footage in reviews, which is very strange. The very early base systems are completely unplayable. In terms of frame rate being about 20, and a lot of stuttering, but that can potentially be patched. But overall, I think, as you rightly said, they've gone out and took a risk. Now, I believe that CD Projekt Red, from past history, will gain back the trust they've lost. If they have lost trust with a lot of people, I think they will back. You can guarantee. I think one of the good things about CD Projekt Red is we've seen what they've done for free for consumers. So you can imagine what the hell they're going to do when they've got bad press.
I 100% agree with you here.
Yep. I think I don't know if you can hear that banging. Is it really loud?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'm on mute. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm going to do some shout outs quickly. There's a few people came in. Welcome, Cyber Gunter. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome, Pong Soul. Welcome, Fastback. How are you, mate? Got a few more as well. Welcome, Jamie Richardson. Thanks for stopping by. Wait a minute. Just go back up the list. I think that's it in a minute. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. But yeah, sorry, carry on, Mr. Tucci.
Also, did any of you see the marketing from this game for Stadia? When they said something like a whisper, it's like
really great.
Hey, guess what? Cyberpunk works great on Stadia. Well, there's no issues on Stadia or something.
It's not hardware though, is it? It's in the cloud.
Yeah.
But if you have terrible internet, it's going to run terrible.
No? Yeah. Also, isn't it? They can't really say that after Google.
Oh no, Google went down the other day, didn't
it? How can you play Stadia when Google's gone down? So it's like, oh, okay. No, I think to be honest with you, and Steel Rain has mentioned something in the chat. A lot of people are playing on older hardware.
Yep.
And that is true. That is very true. I looked at the Xbox One X version. I looked at the Series S version and the XS, sorry, the Series X version from Digital Foundry. What kind of got me was actually kind of a little bit strange, was that the Xbox X was doing a very good job, but still had some potential issues. The Series S was actually doing a hell of a lot better, which was strange, but that could be potentially due to the actual, it's got better hardware, it's got more, updated software in some cases. And the Series X obviously was doing the best currently out. From what I heard from Digital Foundry was that for visuals, Series X currently, as we speak right now, seems to be the best place to play. We're not talking PC here, because obviously PC is well above. Is the peer place to play for it. But in terms of console, it seems to be Series X for visuals, PlayStation 5 for a steady 60 frame rate at a lower set of visuals, and in some cases lower density of NPCs, and in some cases your asset. Then it goes to Series. Yeah, then it's Series S, and then it's Xbox One X, and then pretty much then it's PlayStation Pro, if I remember correctly. But anything prior to that is just unplayable from the sounds of it.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But
yes.
One thing I'm seeing in chat now, people are going about the refunds. Now, here's the thing, right? Mr. Fushi shared this thing about PlayStation the other day about refunds. Now, I think what the problem is, it's not PlayStation turning down, because Xbox are also refusing refunds. What it is I'm pretty sure there's a guideline on the store that states that if you play over X amount of time, it's either 2 or 3 hours, you are no longer eligible for a refund. And a lot of people are being declined for refunds because of it.
I don't see how that can be stated, because a game is literally an RPG. It's hundreds of hours. You may not know of a big problem until you're about. It could be game breaking at say 8 hour 8. So
This is where I just think that Microsoft, Sony, and Microsoft, Sony, and CDPR.
Just no 2 hours. He said it's on Xbox store. It's 2 hours.
That's correct.
Yeah, it is. But I think that this situation is unprecedented to a degree, and I can't see how can base guidelines or terms of use, or whatever their terms and conditions are in terms of returns, can be sort of offset against you playing for 2 hours. I just can't see how they can apply those rules, but they are, because like I said to you, right, if it's worth $50 to $90 million between Sony and Microsoft, they're not going to easily let that money go.
No.
And I think that regardless of who made what promises to who, as we're sort of seeing in the press, people are guessing of CDPR promised Sony and Microsoft that there'd be a day one patch to fix all the issues, and that's why they were given certification. That's absolute nonsense. I've never heard of such rubbish. But what it is that it's purely that, even though maybe they were at odds with each other, but when it comes to money and these sort of numbers, money helps to sort of build bridges and align each other and deal with whatever the what's that word, Mr. Tucci? Deal with the outcome. That's right. Yeah, the D word. Yeah. Whatever the fallout. Sorry. Yeah, would be. So I at the end of the day, it comes down to money. But as I said to you, all three need a finger pointing at them. And again, Sony invoking the 2 hour limit and saying, hey, and as Removals pointed out quite clearly, it's a game that can take you hundreds of hours. I've seen people in the chat saying it takes 20 hours or 30 hours and the prologue for 6 hours. To me, I played through the prologue as a nomad. I don't know what Stubbs and Mr. Tucci are using, but I can tell you, Removable Sanity, that I didn't even see the time. It's like Sea of Thieves, right? Sometimes you come off and think we've played an hour, and then Mr. Tucci said that's actually 4.
I'm the pirate from Sea of Thieves.
I ain't gonna argue with Pegleg, but Pegleg pirate. But the point is that 4 hours feels like 1 hour, and if you like the game, and I think there's people in the chat that really do like the game, and some that haven't experienced it. But for me, it wasn't laborious, and it wasn't a sort of an endeavor that I had to sort of sit through. I loved it, and I really enjoyed every aspect of the intro. So don't be put off by any of that. Removable.
Exactly.
No, I think.
Oh, sorry to put in. I didn't believe because VJ in the DM you lot were saying, yeah, I went on for an hour, but it turned into a 4-hour endeavor. No, I didn't actually believe him until I tried it, and it did. It went on for about an hour, and I think we ended up coming off about midnight, and it was about 3 or 4 hours.
Stubbs, you did have a kip in the cave.
Not first time. No, I'm on about my first experience.
No, just kidding. I'm just pulling your other leg. You're pulling your third leg. Sorry.
What
you love that third one, don't you?
You've got those Savelos you post in the DMs.
What I'm hearing, at least from from what I'm hearing from Cyberpunk, is that, and again, this is my opinion here. You all can call me an idiot for this, and I'm sure you will. And same with the chat. I'm starting from, again, I haven't played it, so this is opinion based on hearsay and what I've researched and what I've seen online. It sounds to me that this is a game that is very much one of the very first next gen games that has unfortunately been released on the previous gen.
Yeah.
And suffers slightly from that. It sounds that if you look at the PC aspects to it and also the optimizations that's going to be coming for them, it sounds like this is a very much a almost full-on one of the very first next-gen titles that's in an open RPG world. And it's suffering in some cases from trying to do every platform when potentially maybe it shouldn't have done.
I think there's a couple of things here. One, I point to the Red engine. I think it's more PC friendly than it is console friendly. That and I've seen engines that do that, and the console versions need a hell of a lot more time. Secondly, you got to understand as well is that coders in the West, the UK are very technical. Japan and America have had years, if not decades, with PS2, PS1, PS2, PS3, Xbox, Nintendo systems, and know how to code to a console specifically. Those skill sets aren't as prevalent in the Eastern European territories. And it's not just them. Illusion Soft works with Mafia, Hidden and Dangerous. They had the same problems porting those games across. They really couldn't quite manage it. And I think that CDPR really need to look carefully on how they go forward, because they may be able to hire people from overseas to come over, but coders are quite tough to do that, especially ones that are proficient with console coding. And people just think, oh, it's just build it on PC and port it to console straight. No, it isn't as simple as that. And I think that they are seeing these issues that surfaced on the Witcher resurfacing again, and that's why it'd be really interesting to see the game coming from People Can Fly. Mr. Stubbs, you mentioned it yesterday. I forgot what it was called. The one from Square Enix that's coming out on console. Stubbs, you there?
There's a couple there, isn't it?
The game from Square Enix, the shooter. There's something that the Xbox put a tweet out yesterday. So we've done this with our friends.
Outriders.
Oh, it's not Square Enix. It's People Can Fly. The people that made the terrible game, Gears Judgment.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to them. EA and Epic that worked with them only gave them 18 months, right, to develop those games, even though, the Gears, the previous one, had about 3 years. But anyway, that's a side note. So it'd be interesting to see from a console coding perspective how Outriders actually looks. That's one, because then if that doesn't turn out as great on console as it was on PC, it will kind of like cement my point. I
can't tell you out loud, but we should have a polite discussion. Probably in the DMs, because I've played the preview. Now, again, it's the early beta. I expect it will look better,
right?
But I will. If you want to know what it actually looks like, I can describe it to you.
No. It's not that removable sanity. I think that I know how high up we hold. Sort of what sort of degree we hold CDPR at, but in high esteem, so to speak. But I can understand from a technical level the issues and the challenges that they're facing and that they haven't addressed from The Witcher, and it takes a long time, and that will be really interesting, as I say, if they do in fact move over to Unreal or something like that, or if they persist with the Red engine. And I think that is what's let them down ultimately, because when I've played the game, and maybe people in the chat can comment, but I understand what you mean about next gen. But look, I've seen GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I was speaking to Mr. Tucci about that. I've seen first-person shooters. I've seen this world, how populated it is. I can see how ambitious it is. It should still run on last gen, maybe not at the same resolution, maybe not at the same frame rate. Stick to 30, lower the resolution. Have less NPCs or vehicles on screen, and so on and so forth, less effects, and so on and so forth.
Would you say, in that regards, then, would you say the density is because from what I'm seeing, and again, I'm looking on the outside here, is the density of the game? It seems like it's almost 2 or 3 times more than GTA in terms of families and elements in itself.
Maybe Mr. Tucci, who's played both, perhaps he could chime in here.
I'm trying to think how populated GTA is. I think there's a lot less NPCs on screen. I know that.
In GTA, I love Cyberpunk. I haven't had a game that has engrossed me this much in a long time, and a game that actually captures you and you're engrossed in it. Right? But I will say one thing: in GTA, you can bump into people when you walk along the street. In Cyberpunk, you walk through them. So that would be nice.
What I'm saying is, do you think that in terms of the world, is it much more dense than versus GTA? Because if we're talking about the GTA, from what I've played GTA, it's, when I say semi-open world, it is semi-open world. There's large swathes of areas that are open, where from what I'm seeing, and again, I'm only just looking at it, this seems like a very compact, multi-tiered game that is highly dense with numerous assets, from what I can tell.
It's very open.
It is.
That's why I was trying to explain myself in terms of next gen. It looks like they have upped the density tremendously, and maybe that's where I'm classifying it as a next gen, because to run that density of assets is, I mean, this is what I'm hearing from PC. They're struggling with some of the high end PCs are struggling to hold these density.
Yeah, I think that what you're saying, Removal, is correct to a degree as well, because we're not sure what jiggery pokery they're running in terms of streaming, right? Which is obviously one of their strengths. But when I played the game, the other game I'd actually wanted to ask Mr. Tucci to comment, because a game that he's played more recently that may shed some light on the performance and the scope and the ambition of Cyberpunk, which we saw in the launch trailer, right? We saw what they really wanted to make, and that was what their intention was, right? And how it's translated over to console and PC. Mr. Tucci's also played Watch Dogs Legion recently, which is again an open world third-person shooter with I don't know how densely populated or packed London is in that game. So maybe
that almost ties. That seems like a sci-fi version of GTA. Am I right in that? Am I wrong in that kind of regard, Tucci?
Yeah.
It kind of is, because you got all like the drones and stuff flying around everywhere. But it's a weird future. It's not as dense as real life London, obviously. I should be sat in traffic all day on there, but
yeah, exactly. But would you say it's similar in terms of density?
I would say that Cyberpunk's more dense than Watch Dogs.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's mainly because on Watch Dogs, each character in the game you can become that you can play as anybody on screen basically. So I don't know. There's a lot more going on in Cyberpunk than it is thingy.
Oh,
everywhere you look, everything's just wild. The design on Cyberpunk. Sometimes you go in buildings and you're just looking everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
Especially in that bloody sex shop on Jar Jar Street.
Oh my God. Is that where you've been making a lot of deliveries, Mr. Tucci?
There's no joke. There's a window there. And there's butt plugs in the window, and they're about 6 foot tall. They're massive.
Well, actually, this is such a good idea. Does it have loading times?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's seconds, not minutes. You know.
Actually, yeah. I haven't really seen that many loadings. Only when you respawn after dying at the last checkpoint, it normally takes about 5 seconds, maybe 10 at max. That's the only ones that I've experienced.
So what about Watch Dogs? Is there loading times for that, Tushi?
Yeah. It's not much.
See,
Though. It's not.
See,
It's nothing
remember
like
the strength in streaming, being able to stream the assets, that they're exceptionally good at that sort of thing, right?
Welcome,
Yeah.
welcome Cerebral Paul. Welcome Xbox 448.
Battletoads.
Together. Battletoads.
I've got to be quiet. It's late at night.
Oh, same here. Anyway, it's like
I'm in the shed. I can shout now. Woohoo!
welcome Marley as well. Thanks for stopping by. You got a nickname.
So, so from what I'm gauging, then, are we saying that our general conclusion to this on Cyberpunk is that between us, at least, we are quite happy with CG with the game. We are giving the developers or CD Projekt Red the benefit of the doubt due to their well-earned previous goodwill they've shown us on previous titles. And in terms of the game itself, it is a potential start in what we could be seeing as the next gen in terms of assets and density and elements in that regards. Am I getting that correct between all of us?
For me, yeah, I'm willing to. I mean, to be honest, I only think with every patch it's going to improve. I mean, I know I haven't experienced a lot of issues, but I do think in the end they will get it right, because I don't know the exact wording, but there was an earnings call or something to do with they had to respond to the issues ongoing, and they said that although patching the game is very, very costly, the damage done to the company would cost more, so it's worth fixing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people. I have a hard problem because I haven't experienced all these problems that other people have experienced. I believe you. Don't get me wrong, you know.
You've got me a point then, because I'm kind of now, and VJ, you might be able to come to this. Are we worried about the next gen assets that's going to be coming soon?
I won't be. I think they nail it, but I don't think you're looking. I think you're looking. The way it is at the minute, their main goal, from what I understand, is to fix the Xbox OG and all the Xbox One versions. I believe the Xbox One X version is fine, as far as I know.
It is. It's pretty good, but it's not brilliant in I think in the frame rate.
Oh, so they will improve it, but I think that's
they've got performance mode and they've got a quality mode. No, sorry, no, I lie. I think the Series S, from what I heard from Digital Foundry, has a quality mode and a performance mode. X only just has a standard mode. That was a bit weird.
Well, anyway, I think their main goal is to complete last generation, make them versions. I would hope to say perfect, but I can't tell you that for sure. But I don't think we're going to see the next generation version of this game. I'm sorry to say, I don't think you can see it until late 2021, maybe early 2022. Sorry to say it.
Well, they said April, May, wasn't it, for the patches?
Yeah, they're patches, but I don't think they're the Series X. With what's happened now, they've shifted their focus onto fixing the base consoles now because of the problem. So I think they're putting all that on. I think they've put it on hold. You know,
so I'm back now. Sorry, Mr. Stubbs.
It's all right. I think they've put a lot of that on hold. So I wonder. I want the next generation one to come. You know, like probably late next year. But it's just they've got to get.
Sounds like you're enjoying yourself regardless of the next gen assets.
Well, yeah. I think the graphics look incredible anyway. You know, although yes, people, I don't have a 4K TV, but the graphics on my Series X looking a lot better than what I experienced previously on my Xbox One S or digital. I will be getting a 4K TV when I can afford one next year, and then I'll probably see a massive upgrade in everything. But as money is at the minute, I can't really afford one of them. You know, so hopefully sometime next year, when I'm back at work fully, I'll be able to get one. So
So one thing has been mentioned just quickly by the chat called Double Tote. He says, one more thing. What about the proposed multiplayer? I don't know. Is that?
I'm excited for that.
It's been put on hold, and expansions have until these problems are fixed. Once their problems are fixed, they will work on multiplayer and releasing DLC expansions. I believe that's what they've said, but they just said that the main focus was fixing the base versions on the PS4, Xbox Ones. I could be wrong, but I would say because of what's going on and all the bad PR, it is best to get them fixed and then work on the DLC, which I believe the first one's free. I don't know if I'm wrong or right. I'm sure that's what they said. And
well, after the bad PR they've got at the moment, I suspect they'll do something like that. They'll make it free. Or CD Projekt Red has a history of providing free stuff. Let's put it a bit bluntly, and I suspect the bad PR, if anything, is going to probably increase that.
Thank you, Bong Sol. He's just corrected me. CDPR said the multiplayer will schedule for 2022. They ain't changing the roadmap as of now, so the multiplayer is coming out in 2022. So it doesn't bother me either way, you know.
No, what I would just add to that, and maybe Removable can chime in here, is that what I found is that they will obviously have a PS4 team, an Xbox team, and so on and so forth. I don't know what the lead format is, probably PC, and then Series X, and then PS5, which are running fine, and I think that those will receive patches as well. But it's not something that you can just throw more people at and fix the problem. It's got to be something, because sometimes, I mean, if you just take Naughty Dog for example, right? They are probably conceiving their project right now, but they know that it's going to take time to recruit, and it'll take 1 month to sort of get someone sort of exposed to whatever the section of the engine is that they've got to be working on. 3 months for them to get reasonably efficient, and maybe 6 months to become really optimum.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so that's why they're recruiting now. It's not because they're trying to reveal again, but that 6 months gives the creative team, the concept art team, and so on and so forth, to conceive the actual product, right? Even before they go into sort of testing and production based parts of it. So what I'm saying is that I think that all of these patches, all of the versions will be worked on. But I agree with Stubbs that the PS4 and the Xbox One, they can run the game. I think they'll make some changes here and there, but I think that's where they may be. They will focus on the formats where they feel the profits lie, so to speak. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because you've got the hype, like say 110 million or 120 million PS4, 50 million Xbox Ones. It's a massive base to ignore. It's bigger than the Series X and Series S, and the PC, from what I understand, is running fairly well. As long as you've got a decent PC,
There is some minor optimization. I think they're having a bit of problem with the particular chroma effects, chroma aberrations, which I think which it actually has an issue on console as well. But I think there are some certain particular effects on PC settings that are causing a little bit of headache for our PC users. But I think what I think I said, from my sounds it, depending on your graphics cards and your system, even the high-end PCs are struggling to get a stable frame rate at 60, at full whack on everything. So this game clearly has pushing all platforms at its peak.
You've got a Series X, right? Removable.
Yes.
Yeah. So put the game in and just close your eyes, because you'll have a really great time.
Well, I know someone, Jamie Richardson. I know someone in the chat. He's been to PC War Stew. He's got about a PC that's about 1,200 quid to about 1,500 quid, and he tells me that Cyberpunk's running at 60 frames per second, no problem at all.
Nice.
So I don't think it's that high end,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. On Series X, and this was running absolutely fine. I haven't witnessed any problems. I don't know if Mr. Tucci has at all.
I was only gauging it from the reviewers I've got, like ACG. He kind of mentioned it. He had a bit of issues on some of his on his PC. Again, I can only go because I don't have a PC. I can only guess what I hear, sort of thing.
Also, I've got a question for you. I mean, This has been thrown at me a lot. Basically,
You're
the
not ugly.
word RPG. Basically, the word RPG. People are saying that Cyberpunk is not an RPG and it's misleading. Now, I mean, RPGs are, Final Fantasy, etc. But in my eyes, though, you do play roles in a game of different.
It's a role-playing game.
Role-playing games. And the definition of role-playing games to me, I was told that RPG has to have a certain combat style, and I don't believe that. You are playing a role. It's a fantasy world.
So no, with the way I understood an RPG is that you could have multiple fighting styles. That's the thing. You could have, you could have an elf who wields a hammer. You could have an elf who uses a bow and arrow. The idea is the role is that you choose the role, you choose the elements upon which you wish to play. That's what makes RPGs, isn't it? The way it is that it is up to the individual to what to choose.
So in essence,
in every aspect.
It is an RPG. I think someone told me it was a shooter. I said it's not a shooter. Call of Duty is a shooter. I said Cyberpunk is not a shooter.
Okay, now I think I understand where they're coming from. So what he's saying is this is an FPS with RPG elements. That was his argument. This is what he's trying to say.
The infamous War Stew said this, by the way.
Yeah, but I think RPG is just a very broad stroke terminology, right?
It is an RPG. You play a role of a character. It's fantasy.
Yeah, it's just a very broad definition, right? Which has evolved over decades, right? So you've got action, third-person action adventure role-playing games. You've got first-person shooter, open-world RPG games. So it's RPG as a term is just a very broad. I think there's subsets to it. And I think that's where we're getting hung up on.
If you wish to be more technical, you could basically say, from what I'm seeing from Cyberpunk, it's a FP RPG, first person role playing game.
Yeah, it's like Indy said, it is an RPG.
Because it's not just shooting, as Tushi mentioned earlier. You can use your swords, you can use your fists, you can use multiple different weapons. So a shooter would assume it is physically down with one element, which is a element that shoots something, whether it's bullets or something.
Tushi, Tushi, have you been able to use your 6-foot butt plug as a weapon yet?
Not yet. I use it as a stool and sit on it.
Sorry, I was just
yes. I would say it's an FP, first person RPG. How's that? If we're being really technical. What I've seen.
A bit like a valve. Bingo.
I'll just look at the time. Have we got other questions? Because
you are right.
Stubbs.
I'm gonna have to rename the title Cyberpunk Edition.
Can I just say before we change? I'm about 15 hours into Cyberpunk at the moment, and the only issues I've had, this was pre the hotfix at 1.04 patch thing. Before that, I had the game where it'd freeze. It happened about 3 times when it's like when I was looking down the scope or something, about to shoot, it just freeze. But it never crashed the console. It never went back to home. It just froze for a few seconds and then it carried on. That's the only issue I've had. But that was on the day when it got. No, that wasn't. That was the day before when I went to New Zealand for the day.
Yeah. So Indie Game has brought up a thing as well. The fact you have character customization and you can choose from 3 different styles says it all. And also, there's one from Cerebral Pole that says,
"It's got something about the penis."
You're a character telling the story, and every player story is different. So it's an RPG, Stubbs. So yeah, it is an RPG, And that's for Jamie Richardson. Yeah, there's big dildos in the windows on Cyberpunk in the sex pit.
They're massive, aren't they?
There is, yes.
They're about 6 foot tall.
Yes.
But actually,
next topic.
Someone's got some wild imagination in that game. That's all I can say.
Yeah, they have.
Mm.
So I don't know how which one to go on to because we haven't got enough time. It's either a toss up between do gamers and media set too higher expectation of games, or should we talk about what games we're going to play over Christmas?
Games
What's
over
more
Christmas.
controversial?
Well, probably.
Well, Tucci, you said games over Christmas. VJ, what's your opinion?
I really couldn't mind. I mean, you know my feelings on the press, right? I mean, sadly, you know, they all think wishfully and cultively, and if not secularly, right? And they do everything that they possibly can to say, look at me, look at me. And at the end of the day, you know, we've got to be smart enough to not be sort of programmed by them to a degree, and be more self-aware. And I think the chat or the community in the chat is what is probably a better definition. Is you know, sort of how can I put it? Is evokes that, right? That that they're not interested in what the press have got to say. Most of the people in the community in the chat are playing it and giving a fair and honest view, right? I don't see anyone exploding like the press do. And again, you know, how many people actually? You may go and they may report something that may be of interest, but that's maybe what 5%, 10% of the actual article that they're portraying. And yeah, so I kind of stay away.
You have just brought up a good thing, VJ. Stubbs, I have a solution for us in terms of which topic to use. Chat, how about you tell us what topic you would prefer us to talk about? Is everyone? What do you think on the panel? Do you think that's a good idea?
Just not food.
Yeah. Unless it's Savaloid.
Okay, so for the chat then, just so it is, so we'll get this clear in that. If you would like us to talk about what games we are playing over Christmas, can you put in 1 in the chat? And if you'd like us to talk about expectations as gamers and journalists, shove in 2. And if you want to start that now, we'll count it up and say we'll give it like 30 seconds and see who wins. How's that? Does that work?
Oh, 80s movies.
Oh, don't start that. We could be here for bloody hours.
That was on my my spotlight one. Was all talking about the 80s movies and stuff. We've got a 3 and a 1.
Yeah. Oh, they're coming in. It's coming in. It's equal. It's going equal at the moment. Ooh, it's leaning towards it's number 2.
Two on the Savoy now.
Oh, we got It's
Christmas movies.
Stubbs.
Just am I?
I'm seeing a lot of 2s here.
I was going to say removable. Number 2 was the reason that Mr.
654.
You were saying, Vijay?
I was just saying number 2 was the reason Mr. Tucci was late for the show.
That is true. Yeah,
it is.
From the gauge I'm seeing, it does look like 2 is currently winning. So they want the more controversial sort of topic. Am I engaging that from the chat right? I think well, it does look like that's the case. So controversial time, I suppose.
So what are we discussing?
Christmas movies.
Do gamers Stubbs, was it the question? Is do gamers put too many expectations?
To do gamers, well, you can include the media in this as well. Create set expectation higher than what the game will, in reality, deliver. And in my view, I would say definitely yes on that front. Too much hype gets, but sometimes the companies don't even market the games that massively and hype them up that much. Just the gamers hype them up. In general, they get this focus in their head that this game is going to be, game of the century and everything. And in reality, it's not. And it's something you probably have. It's like, yeah, if you set your expectations low or don't set expectations. I've seen Shizno Elite saying earlier, you shouldn't go in with okay, you want a game, but expectations can often lead to disappointment. And over the years, Xbox gamers know what that means at E3. Disappointment. So, in general, I would, on my view on that, I'd say that the answer is yes. Gamers and the media set expectations too high, but with the media, there's a lot of different biases there with the media, but the same with the gamers as well. And also, there is the title generation as well of gamers that believe.
Well, that's what Cerebral Super Paul's going right now. He says some gamers feel like they're entitled in some way. We aren't.
No, you're not. You're just a customer at the end of the day. People have to remember that, yes, we are gamers, and you can spend hours upon hours playing games and buy all the DLC, but at the end of the day, what people have to remember is that Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, all these gaming companies and devs, they just, end of the day, you're a customer and they want your money. So please remember that they are a business as well. Because a lot of people forget that as well.
Well, I suppose for me, the best way to look at this, and I think VJ and Tushi will be able to help me out here, is that let's look at a similar media and how the public deals with that. So, for instance, what media is almost as engaging and almost gets almost as much hype? And I would say films. Would you agree in that regards? Or do you think
I feel like they're treated the same? I think they just get slated and no one bothers watching or playing them.
The gaming section is actually a bigger market. It's
bigger.
It's surpassed.
Oh yeah, no, I mean at the moment I'm trying to think of a element that's almost comparable, because in terms of, are we as gamers, is this unique to gaming in terms of our entitlement or of our hype?
I think there's two things to it, really. I think it's a combination, to be honest with you. Most journalists we know are nothing more than walking, talking algorithms, right? They take the official version of everything and communicate it to the public. We've seen that with all the reviews that have been coming out, the embargo dates, right? And we weren't allowed to say this, we could say that, and we can do this today, right? And so they're following, a certain set. And then obviously you've got movies, trailers, which can be deceiving. You've got game trailers that predominantly seem to be going back to the 90s, where not everything is pre-rendered in engine. It's more sort of cinematic trailers and disclaimers at the bottom of the adverts or the trailer itself. You don't need to be intelligent to be a journalist these days. You just have to have the clout, the following, and enough sheep, listening to what you've had to say, right? It seems that most newspapers, blogs, journalists, and social media, are rumored to report the news, but it seems that they've gone tabloid, to put it mildly, right? And I've said this before.
Narrative heavily driven.
Yeah, and they're selling a story, and they're very good at selling a story, even though there may not be any substance to what it is. And then you've got the consumer side of it. So for me, it might be Final Fantasy. For you, Mr. Tushi, it might be Perfect Dark. For Stubbs, it may be Gears of War 6. For you, Removable Sanity, it may be Seasons, right, coming for the PlayStation 4. What's happening there? It's a combination, and it's a factor of. And
Sorry.
I think. Hello.
We've got to say, Mr. Tushi, like joining us.
What?
Hang on.
What the hell's going on here?
I've got loads of sound coming through.
Okay. Anyway, so back to the point. So back to the point I was making is that then guys, then you've got the issue from the consumer side of it, because you've seen something, you've seen a trailer, and then I think the terminology is called confirmation bias, right? So, and we sort of tend as consumers to buy into a specific IP or brand, especially if it's a sequel to a game that you've already previously enjoyed, right? Like say Splinter Cell, right? And it starts off really great, goes down, goes really high again, and then just starts to go flat, because we don't pay as much attention as consumers, like who's actually behind the game, who's left, I mean, how many people, the public, the millions that buy Mass Effect are going to know that Casey Hudson's left, right? from BioWare. We don't know. So our confirmation bias is, sort of search and interpretate and sort of favor and recall, what that product or game or IP or for example, Cyberpunk, right? And what that means to us, right? Is it an RPG? Should it have been third person? Should it have been first person? That all comes later. But I think that we create an emotional attachment with what they're selling, and then we get hooked on that. And what happens when you get emotionally attached to something and then you're let down? You're upset, right, at the end of the day, right? Or you're disappointed, right? Or you wish, it was different, right? And then, and based on emotion, you react on Twitter, either castigating the issue, the topic, or the game. Or if you're intelligent enough, you're able to sort of understand where it may or may not have gone wrong. You're able to detach yourself from it and then find something else to play or enjoy. And let's be honest, right? There's plenty of that to go around. There's no doubt. So I don't see why. And I think it was Indie Gamer, or it might have been Cerebral Paul or Fastback or something in the chat that said, listen, if you just find a game that you like and enjoy that one. And for me, it seems it's Cyberpunk, regardless of what anyone has to say. They won't be able to change my opinion because of the money that I spent on it, and then in terms of the value, in terms of the hours, in terms of entertainment, that ratio. That's why I can't really compare movies, DVDs, and TV shows, because that ratio in terms of cost versus the time that I've had in terms of joy and engagement. There's very few mediums that I can think, other than maybe a book that I've read a couple of times. Right, I'm a slow reader these days. But do you see what I mean? Removable in terms of.
No, I mean, in terms of an actual perfect comparison, there really is none. And this is one other thing I was trying to lead into, is that, is this a unique entitlement solely onto gamers? Is it something that's inherent in gaming, or is individual gamers, or is it something? Is it more widespread in our common day-to-day life of just the things we like, we want them to be the best, and we get quite, irate if it isn't this case. Obviously, social media amplifies the worst case scenarios and aspects of humanity. But I'm trying to think of it in terms of that, because as you said, it's you want a product that is good. You want a product that is. You want a product to be, perfect. But I can't say that in terms of. I mean, I think gaming seems to be the only one I can see so far where we're probably the most vocal, probably because we're probably the most passionate at this stage. In terms of films, I don't think we might have certain Marvel films or Star Wars films, or certain, we're quite passionate about the things that are how they end up, or how they're designed, or come through. I don't know. I'm trying to answer Stubbs' questions, and in the case, I think it's based on a person by person aspect.
Yeah.
And it's a hard question to answer in that regard, because, as you rightly said, me and you, we're quite pragmatic. I don't really go into hype. I only kind of get hyped up once I've seen the gameplay. And in most cases, normally once I've started playing the game, that's when my hype really kicks in. Do I have a little bit of hype when I see something like a sequel or something to a particular film or to a particular game? Yes, but I don't go overboard, because I'm also a little bit, I've been burnt, so I'm kind of wary in that regards. Are we gamers entitled? I don't know. It's a tough question.
It's an interesting. Pong Soul says customers need to get over FOMO. I don't know what that stands for. So someone will have to enlighten me. Make a company selling you on their product if it is a high risk proposition, etc. So if you don't want it, don't buy it on day one. Wait and see, or buy it after reviews, or so on and so forth. But for me, I've got a few friends that have bought Cyberpunk. One's a PC gamer, one's a PS5 gamer, and they play it. And I wouldn't say that they're sort of super hardcore game, or the PC gamer is, but it's like, I played it for 4 or 5 hours, and I said, you might be able to get a refund. He goes, yeah, whatever. It's like there is that generation of people, and I'm just wondering how many of us are there, or what percentage of us are there? Is it 0.5% that are on Twitter complaining, while the mass market don't give a second thought to spending $60 because they can tell their friends, hey, I've got Cyberpunk, and number two, the money doesn't mean that much to them. It's strange. And again, we talk about it because obviously it's something we want to discuss, but how many people actually listen, and how many people actually, we've all got families, right? And our money goes to other places and our time is limited. But the two gentlemen I'm talking about, they're in their 20s, early 20s, and they don't think twice about buying a game. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they'll play it for a little bit and then just move on to the next thing without a care in the world.
So do you think that maybe it's not when we say entitlement, do you think it's a generation thing then? Because I'm just trying to think back of other elements. I do remember as a young man being a little bit more entitled. When I was a heavy Warhammer model fan, I was I'd classify myself as much more critical of the products I was buying when I was younger, and also of gaming as well. And I suppose if I'm thinking back and I'm being honest with myself, I have seemed to mellowed in terms of my entitlement. Or maybe it's just that my knowledge now of the gaming industry is understood.
Removable, trust me. I've lived in the States now for a few years, and Pong Soul, Dragon Wolf make a couple of good points there. Fear of missing out. Assassin Looper makes a good point in We're Entitled years back, where we felt happy and grateful to get a game. And I was talking to Mr. Tucci the other day, and we were talking about I'd be lucky to get 10 pence on a Saturday to go and buy some Bertie Bassett's or whatever, and have a can of Coke on Friday, and that brings us on a bigger issue, two bigger issues. One is there's so much waste over here and in the States, and we still homelessness is increasing at an exponential rate. It's insane. And then on the second hand, we're here discussing games and so on and so forth. We talked about Poland, coming out of communist rule, back in the 90s, when further down the road there's a country of 6 million people that are being conscripted from being probably one of the freest ports and most prosperous, countries in the world, in Hong Kong, now being sort of forced into communist rule with no capitalist or free world thinking countries surrounding them in Taiwan, in Japan, and so on and so forth, doing just saying, "Oh, we're angry," but not lifting a finger to do anything about it. So when you put things into context like that, I'd say that we're, however, even if Cyberpunk was 10% worse or 20% worse, I'd be grateful for it. So you're right. I think the generational thing does come into. I'm probably the oldest one here on the panel, but yeah.
But I remember when I say generational thing, I don't obviously mean to say I'm picking on a particular generation. I'm starting to believe that it's, when I say generation as a growth as a human being. So when you're younger, you are a little bit more hot-headed. You are a little bit more, a little bit more voracious with your wordings, your appetites, and all those elements. You are a little bit more picky, a little bit more outspoken. And as age comes with knowledge, you do start to, in some cases, start to mellow. So maybe it's just us as human beings, the earlier we are a bit more entitled. But then again, as I said, we looked as a kids, we were happy for just, we were happy for just get a can of Coke for 25p. But at the same time, there were kids who were really, really poor. He probably looked at us and was like, damn, So again, I guess, I don't know, it's a hard question, isn't it?
I think there's a degree of truth to what Mr. Stubbs, the question that he raised. There is a degree of truth to it. What it is exactly, I don't know. We can only give our opinions based on the lives that we've lived, and I think the comments from the community in the chat echo that.
They do. It's
Well, did I say something profound there? It might be the first time in my life.
No, you always do. Well, the question comes now is, how do we rectify it? Or can we rectify it?
No, because you know why? As human beings, the majority, we don't appreciate each other. That's the problem. We don't truly believe in we don't truly buy into or believe what it means to build and buy into and be a part of a community. We say it, we use the words, but I think very few people know the sort of the mystical, deep meaning behind it, if that makes sense, right?
So yeah, I can see what you're saying there. It's
one of us does.
No, I think internalize you're saying is it's easy. It's a bit like you don't really worry about stuff if it doesn't affect you.
That's true.
And in some cases, but that's not everybody. I'm not saying that's everybody. Some people who go out their way to, generally, regardless, will always look out for other people. And then there's some people who just prefer to be left alone and just do their own thing and potter around. And then there's some people who can be selfish. So,
but I think partly the way that humanity is, you only have to look at the way the governments, right, standardize education, right? They leave, people like, I hope Mr. Tucci doesn't mind me constantly bring this up, but what happened to him, right? How he was sort of just left to just rot, left out of the system completely. Really? That's our society? Forget about talking about communities, you're going to go all the way back to where does the issue stem from, right? It stems from greed, right? It doesn't matter if you're a communist country, whether you're a socialist, whether you're a capitalist, or whether you live in the free world, right? Greed and power corrupts the best of us, right?
Definitely true. I'll tell you another
power
thing.
corrupts, absolutely, isn't it?
You go out to shops and that, and you have to wear face masks. I'm not going to make a statement on it, but people are rude now. People don't say hi, even with your mask on. A lot of people, will just wave at you rather than say, hello, how are you doing? Even if you are 6 foot apart. They just wave at you instead. I've found more and more with these masks on, people are becoming, in real life, ruder.
I think it's not rude. I think they're just a little bit more worried, and I expect in some cases they're trying to be respectful of other people's spaces.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is removable. The other thing, right, is there is a lot of humble people out there, and the humble people out there don't want to control people, and they're the ones that don't get into politics, that don't look to become MPs, right? Because they're not.
Who would want to?
The ones that want to control, the ones that want to hold power, the ones that are corrupt are normally the ones that vie for the positions within society, not communities, society. And society, the way that society is, stems from the people that we appoint. And the people that we appoint are first and foremost interested in, it's self-interest. And I may be very broad here, and maybe it's not. I'm not talking about every single MP in Great Britain, but history has taught us over centuries that is a key reason why generation after generation suffers. But I think I might stop there because I think.
Well, I can see your point, but in terms of society as humanity, we are getting better. I'm not saying we are anywhere near that, but in terms of, I know there are still big problems we have to issue. If we can compare ourselves from like the 1800s to now, I would say we're survivability is definitely increased for a majority of people.
I think the issue is that you compare the 1800s to today, we're technologically advanced, right? We're much more focused on, but I think the problem still remains, whether it was 1800 years ago or 2000 years ago when some bloke was stuck up on a cross. You are fundamentally now, these days, right, you're not put up on a cross for committing the crime of being or thinking or saying something that's different, let alone being ridiculed, and that's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch on that technology section you said there now.
I'll just go to sleep
when it comes to governments, right? I don't know everyone. Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not saying we're all going to walk around with implants in our heads, but Germany and Europe are creating technology on an astronomical level. You don't understand what they're building. They're building cameras that can, on entry to countries, that can detect
China's already got it.
If you're lying, facial expression, everything. Now, there will be a point where the governments will be all the same around the world, and the problem is they can make the technology, even if you're telling the truth, they can skew the technology, so just no one comes in the country. So in 100 years' time, the world could be a very different place, and we could be 100 to 150 years. We could be living in what we see as a silly game called cyberpunk. That could become a reality. Call me crazy, but you don't know. The world could have gone to total, all the governments, the police could be like flying drones and that. Although everyone laughs.
Well, to be honest with you, you say 150 years.
I think
technology at this mate is doubling and doubling and doubling every 5 years.
Europe's got a budget of 80 billion. They're working on projects where they've got national interest. You know what I mean?
Let's put it in context. In 1970, we didn't really have the World Wide Web.
Well, exactly.
In 2000,
1600s, when witches were burned up in Oxford, I think we need to bring those days back. And everyone's got a nice Saturday night out instead of being stuck indoors.
Oh yeah.
But technology at the moment, we look at it right now. We saw if any of those who are Star Trek fans in the chat, you remember seeing Picard looking at a tablet going, and everyone's like, "I'd want one of them." We all now have one of them.
Exactly. You're right.
Yeah. I think
one thing I will say though, in France. No, any of you want to look this up though? They're actually trying to pass a law where it's a criminal offence to film police that are beating people up. They're actually beating people up. It's going to be a criminal offence. And when you see thousands of people protesting in France, and it's not like here in France,
they may be able to...
in France, the people chuck tear gas, rockets, and grenades. They don't mess about in France, and the police run. That could be a world you may live in one day.
Yeah.
No, well, there's a slight difference between there. It's that you can say they can pass a law, but the law, it can only work when the people themselves choose it to work. So we could pour you. It's like we could choose to. No one's allowed to film the police beating someone up or film the police. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. You can get this. How many people have got mobile phones? Almost every person. That's not forcible.
Shut the net down.
Well, I don't.
BJ hasn't.
I don't have a phone. But the point that removable. Those words you've just spoken have been spoken so many times throughout history, right? And be very, very careful what you say, because sometimes the what you think is unconscionable, it can become reality, and we've seen it so many times. And
if we allow it,
hey, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. But we've allowed Hong Kong, for example, right, to go back into under communist regime, and we talk about people believe they've passed a law there now where normally teenagers in Hong Kong couldn't be sanctioned to prison sentences, but now if you're 13 and older, if you say something which is against the regulations out there in terms of what you say about the government and so on and so forth, even if you're carrying a spray can and you're going to post, you'll be in prison to 3 to 6 months minimum. No questions asked. And,
I agree. But there is also riots and protests out there. I mean, I am surprised, and again, this is really more of a worldwide topic rather than I'm surprised our government isn't, or other governments aren't stepping up. The people themselves are trying to step up, but without some sort of help, you're right. They are being subjected to some horrendous.
Let me ask you this question. I wonder what the European Union says, right, about human rights, right? But when it comes to doing business,
I don't give a shit about human rights.
No, the European Union is one of the most corrupt organisations.
No, exactly. But the guideline, right? The face of it would say, we're here to protect human rights, blah 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 blah, right? But where are the human rights being and those sanctions being imposed when you've got a country that's taking over another country and turning it into a communist, ruling it under a communist regime? Why? Because you're doing business with that country, and speaking up and against them, rising up and speaking up against or sanctioning them will do nothing but damage to your own country, right? And would society, back you in the next election if you did that? Now, Trump did it. Trump stood up to China over here. I could see it numerous amount of times. And he's paying the price because Biden over here, he's a supporter of China. So, and people may say, oh, yeah, whatever. But there's a truth to it, a degree of truth. It may not be the whole truth, but there's a degree or an element to it, and that's, you know, from a high level, I can see that, because, you know, and it's horrible to see, but these are the facts of what's actually happening, right? And as I said to you, you know, how much does our economy, how does the European economy, you know, rely on countries that may be, you know, not doing things that we would normally, like Mr. Removable said, you know, we don't expect those things to ever happen, right? Potentially, but they may.
What's the old phrase? You know, I'm sure you'll be able to tell me. It's bad things happen when good people do nothing. I'm not a fan. That's probably a bad wording of it, but you know,
it's a bit of a dichotomy in there somewhere. So it's like I'm just trying to figure that one out. But yeah,
I'm trying to think of there was a particular phrase where it is, you know, if you doing nothing is almost as bad as, you know, as helping along the process. Yeah. You know, it's I don't know. It's society. I'm kind of one. You know, people have been shouting the fall of Rome, and it seems to be like almost like a cycle. You know, history teaches us many things, and if we don't learn from history, we are bound to repeat it.
You know, that's a really interesting phrase, because for me, how long has it been that since any country has actually been run by adults? And another important point, there's another saying that wisdom comes from revelations. We've had plenty, but where is the wisdom being, you know, enacted upon? I don't see it.
Very good topic. I think we're going a bit far deep, aren't we? I'll do a different podcast
into Europe.
Yeah.
Do you want to finish off with what you're going to play for Christmas? How about that?
Can we talk about what Mr. Tush is going to eat over Christmas?
Yeah,
Saveloys.
Yeah,
mince pies.
No. Let him speak. Go ahead, Mr. Tush. Tell us 7 days of Christmas or 14 days of Christmas. What's on the menu?
Oh, well, Christmas Day, I'll probably have a pot noodle, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Not turkey?
No.
Well, turkey pot noodle.
That is.
My missus is on a 12-hour shift Christmas, and she gets back at about 8:30 at night, so I'll be on
one of those frozen turkey meals.
Nah.
Oh, Jamie Richardson, that topic. If I could have started talking, it would have got a lot deeper than that conversation. I held myself back there.
Sorry, Mr.
Politics is a very deep thing, yeah. We're not just gaming here. We do have.
It was.
So.
No, yes, games over Christmas. What are people looking forward to playing? I'll go to Mr. Removable Sanity first, because we know he's dying to play a certain game or games.
I genuinely, do you know, I say I'm looking forward to playing games. As a father of 2 toddlers, it'll be very limited amount of time. So to honestly, yes, I will be looking forward to Cyberpunk when I finally get my hands on it. I'll probably spend a good couple of hours trying to upload the upgrades for it. But I think also under at the moment, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I've just recently got. I'm hoping to try and get some time on that as well. And I also have Watch Dogs. So I'm kind of looking towards Mr. Tushi here, whether or not I hold off until they've patched the thing.
They've patched it now. Apparently, it's all right. But I tried it before there was a patch. I tried it and it didn't work. Then they patched it again since. But apparently they fixed it now. But I've not been back since. Only because I want 3 games before I buy anything else. I just want to.
Hang on. He said this on air. So when he's announced on Twitter what else he's bought, tell him.
We're going to have him. Yeah. Have him, Lord Shanks.
Clip it.
I want to complete Cyberpunk. That's I'm going to complete this one first. Then I'm going to go back to Immortals Phoenix Rising, and then I'm going to go back to Watch Dogs. But I'm going to start that again with permadeath on this time.
Oh wow, brave!
If I'd done the one now on permadeath, I've only died twice.
Do a YouTube series or a Twitch series on that.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good game. Because I really enjoyed Watch Dogs. Part of me feels like I kind of enjoyed Watch Dogs more than so far I've enjoyed of Cyberpunk. In a way. I am honestly really enjoying Cyberpunk though, but Watch Dogs really
It
hooked
got
me
to
in.
you. It got to you at that stage, yeah.
But it drove me insane with that save issue. That's I don't know.
So the bug caused you the more issues, and that's why you're kind of. So, well, what games are you besides? Are those the main ones you're going to be playing with, or are you going to try and jump into a Game Pass game, i.e., Sea of Thieves?
There's quite a few games I play all the time, especially Sea of Thieves, Call of Duty Cold War, because now that the bug's been fixed on that campaign, I've finally done that mission. I think I'm on the last mission now, anyway. So, because I play a lot of multiplayer games mainly.
Mm.
It's rarely I'm playing on my own anyway.
Mm.
Like one thing I did think about doing, especially this weekend and over Christmas, is trying to, because with Sea of Thieves, I see so many people say they've tried it, but they never tried it because they don't know what they're doing and stuff. But part of me's felt like just getting 3 people together who've never played it and just show them the ropes and stuff, like I did with VJ and Stubbs. Now that they're absolutely hooked on it.
Yeah. What are you saying? You're going to make me and Stubbs walk the plank so you can bring on some new crew?
Yeah,
No, you're your own captains.
Right,
Your own
that's it,
captains
well,
now. You've been
well,
promoted.
No.
You two have been promoted now.
We will. We know how it is.
I couldn't get through the caves.
You know what I mean.
No, but
I'm
Mr. Tucci, let's be fair, Mr. Tucci. Yeah, I think me and Stubbs have still got our training wheels on. He fell asleep in the cave, and I couldn't get through him. So I think it's a bit of a stretch for us to be captains.
Exactly. Yeah. Plus, I can't work out the riddles. You know,
And I can't even get hold of a Savoy.
I'm struggling with the riddles as well. It probably feels like there's a lot of people out there that don't know what they're doing, and they want to try it, but they don't know where to start and stuff. But I might try and do like a little training thing or something over Christmas. Just get a few people so they can get into the game.
I'll be there.
See. Because I've got some spare time over Christmas. So
can I bring my blow up dolphin?
you can bring the blow up dolphin as long as you take the fin off. Is she called Sam Fox as well?
Oh my god! Sorry, Mr. Stubbs. Sorry, Mr. Tucci. Please continue.
VJ, what about you? What are you going to be playing over Christmas?
Sam Fox.
I think Cyberpunk. I know a lot of people have been playing. Oh, I'm gonna complete it, finish it, crush it, crunch it. Those words there just show you back to one of the topics we were discussing, where people consume games, they don't enjoy them, and that's my fear. So I'm very much taking my time with it. I took my time with Ori. I went online and checked, what was the sort of average play time. It was like 12 hours to do it in a leisurely mode. I spent 15 hours with it. And I think with Cyberpunk, it'll be another one of those games, like with Judgment and the Yakuza games, where I spend a lot of time looking around, checking things. So I'm actually consuming the game because it's engaging me. And once it stops engaging me, then I'll probably move forward to completing it, moving on to the next game. So, and then obviously, I think Sea of Thieves has taken over my life somewhat. I always get a message from Mr. Tucci hours tonight. So that's the other one. And then I'm still playing Hyperdot. I think I'm on level 70 or 75. There's 100 levels. So I'd like to finish that. Spiritfarer, I'd like to complete that. And Jedi Fallen Order. But I don't know. I'm hooked on Cyberpunk. And I know this may sound crazy. And I know some people in the chat have said that Watchdog Legions is someone's game of the year in the chat. I've sort of missed it now. But for me, is in some ways, I'm glad it had a bug in it because I could, because it'd just be too much to consume or too much to play. So in that respect, and Yakuza Like a Dragon, another one I really wanted to get a hold of. And again, people in the chat that have played it think it's fantastic. So and it probably is. I love Kamurocho and wandering around there. So yeah, that'll probably be me, unless Mr. Tucci comes up with another wild plan or another wild game he wants to play. And then that'll probably be me.
State of Decay 2 next.
I'm sorry.
State of Decay 2 next.
Yeah, no problem. Whatever you want to play, I don't mind. I really don't mind. I don't have a genre that I'm stuck with, or stuck to, or glued to, or attached to. For me, it just has to be a game that I can understand and understand the logic, understand the purpose, and it's reasonably engaging, and then I'm happy as a pig in Chardonnay, shall we say?
I've already got a my next set of pirates in the chat. I've had Dragon Wolf say he's played it at launch, but he hasn't played it much since.
It's very much like me.
I'm talking about now, Mr. Tucci. That's all your fault.
Joe Richardson said that he's never played it, so
Blue
there we
Moon
go.
FC, welcome, mate. Thanks for stopping by. No, yeah, there's a lot of people interested in playing Sea of Thieves. We're going to have to get these games going. We are.
Yeah.
But sadly, it's only 4-player. That's the problem. So, I mean, Mr. Tucci might have to go and play with them separately.
Well, you can. From what I can hear is you can do a 4-player team, but still have a chat of about 16 people, and
32.
It just means, yeah, it just means, or is it? It just means that it just means someone has to take charge of each individual 4 team and then join the server. Am I correct? Same server.
At the moment, I don't think you can join the same server. I'm not sure. I'm trying to find a way to do that for the game night. So I want to try and get everyone to have like a big battle together and stuff, but I don't think there's a way to actually. You can't have a server on your own. I don't think.
Mr. Tucci, you enjoyed Phoenix, right? Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So is this Assassin Lupus was saying everyone should try it?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really good game.
What about you, Mr. Stubbs? What are you eating and playing over Christmas?
Well, Christmas Day, turkey, obviously. Pigs in
Just
blanket.
turkey, nothing else.
No, pigs in blanket, bit of gravy, some vegetables.
Chicken nuggets.
No, chicken nuggets. Probably.
Oh dear.
I'll give McDonald's.
Yeah, no, just play some games. Just Cyberpunk. I'm going to get back into playing multiplayer on Gears. I was speaking to Rosie Arts, Rosie Brown. You know Rosie Brown?
Never heard of him.
On a couple of weeks ago.
Club 108.
Club 108, yeah.
No idea.
On how he deals with the toxicity on Gears. He just said, laugh at them. Just don't reply to them when they send you nasty messages. So I'm going to... No, because they expect you to be like an MLG Pro. Right? So when I play multiplayer, I'm just going to ignore all the messages. He says they hate that. And as for being reported for not being very good, he has a vast experience in... He used to... Well, I'm having him on the community spotlight, I reckon, because he has a good story. Rosie Brown does, really good one people might enjoy. But he said, in general, for someone just reporting you, it takes a lot to get you suspended. A lot. Obviously, don't reply back with a swear word because they will ban you. Just like say, have a nice day, or just don't reply. So that was my biggest peeve with Gears multiplayer is there is a lot of toxicity, but from what I understand, it's in all games, you know. But I do like Gears. I want to do this Hivebusters DLC.
Yeah, same here.
Because they've actually changed the name of the game now. Apparently, it's called Gears of War 5. Sorry, they dropped the war, didn't they? Gears 5 Game of the Year edition. Apparently now. Right, it's been updated. That's what the game's called now. If you've got the Ultimate Edition, it's called Gears 5 Game of the Year Edition. And it, if you only play multiplayer and you don't intend on going back to the campaign, you can actually remove the campaigns from it. It's got a split section. Rosie shared it on Twitter. And if you only want to play it or not, even you can have the full campaign, the Hivebusters DLC, the multiplayer, smells. But if you only want to play the Hivebusters DLC, that's all you have to install. You can remove certain parts.
That's good.
It's quite crazy, yeah.
That's very good. That's going to help with people with storage, without doubt.
It will.
Got a question for you. If Christmas falls on a Friday, does that mean that bank holiday rolls in onto the Monday, or does it's just Saturday and Monday's a work day?
Hey,
let's have a look. Yeah, Christmas is on a Friday.
Yeah,
because Friday
we should get Monday off. Yes,
I got it.
Well, no, currently on my one it said that the Friday is obviously New Year's Day. The Monday it says 2nd of January, substitute day Scotland, but I'd imagine most businesses would just be closed on the Mondays. Historic. That is a very good question, actually.
No, actually, thinking about it, I am actually back to work that Monday, so for maybe I may not be. Just thinking about it, yeah.
I'm just wondering how many hours of gaming Mr. Tushi's going to get in over Christmas.
Oh, Jamie Richardson. Yeah, I was in Gears Ranked, I was trying my best. I always do on King of the Hill. And this guy messaging me because apparently I wasn't trying hard enough. I got fed up with them guys with the stupid Lancer guns. I don't like Lancer guns. And I started to copy what they were doing. Then I got accused of not trying hard enough. I was trying hard, but I've been told to ignore them from now on. Ignore and block, I have.
Thank you, Mr. Stubbs.
But no, yeah, basically, I'll be playing some Gears over Christmas, some Cyberpunk. Probably get back into a bit more of playing some Hyperdot. I've been on that in a bit.
Sea of Thieves.
And some Sea of Thieves. That's basically rounding it up. And I will try and play some more Ori. Even though I struggle like hell with the game, Even though I know what to do in a certain section, but I can't do it. And I will try and complete Halo 1.
Hey.
That stressed me out.
What you got it, and you do it first time.
See, I've actually I've had offers of people offer to play co-op with me, and I sit in the buggy and they finish it for me. But I feel like it's cheating. I want to do it myself, but I've tried a lot of times. It's quite frustrating when you try that many times.
You want the satisfaction of knowing you've done it all by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
VJ had the same issue on Gears of War 1.
Indies reappeared, when I mentioned Ori. Yes, definitely. You're MLG Pro at dying, Marley, are you? He's giving me a nickname to call him by because I can't always say his name right. On Twitter, he says my nickname's Marley. Call me Marley. Yeah, MLG Pro at dying. Hey. So we have to get. And that's a good question. Over Christmas, will you be doing? Because you're off, will you be doing more? Will you be trying to do any community game night stuff, or not? Because people with their families.
I'm thinking people might be fed up with the families, so they might go on the Xbox a bit more.
Yeah. That is a very good point. They'd be fed up with them. Yeah, you are right.
I'll be there. I'll be there, Mr. Tushi, if you need me.
Because I've got nearly 2 weeks off, so I might have to do like I did. I've done a whole weekend, didn't I? 3 days in a row.
Mm.
Might have to do another one of them, I think.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear. It's been a good show. Do you want to tell people where they can find you, VJ? And do you want to plug the Indie Gamers podcast this Saturday?
Oh, I forgot. There's the Indie. Oh God, sorry, I've lost my words right now. There's the Indie Gamer special episode this Saturday that I'll be appearing on with many other members from the gaming community. And I think it's going to be a really, really good show. I think the Indie Game has been doing a good job of plugging it himself, but I'm really happy to be invited on, and hopefully we can make it a show to be remembered coming up to Christmas. I haven't been on that many podcasts this week because of stuff going on. So I've been the only one. But yeah, other than that, you can, as long as my house is not flooding or it's not falling apart, you can find me on Mr. Tushi's Community Gaming Nights, where I attempt to play games very badly.
You're not that bad.
Yeah, I'm useless. I can walk
not as bad as Stubbs
and get eaten by sharks. No worries.
Mr. Tucci, the reason I'm coming back to Gears is I looked at the stats on Gears 5. Were you not playing private matches?
Yeah, it was in private matches.
Oh, right then.
Yeah, I thought you just said, are you into private mattresses? And I thought,
no, matches. I just looked at your stats and I thought, how the hell has he got that many kills in public matches? I thought, you're not quite that good then. Oh, right, okay.
The problem we have, you can't go into a ranked match because everybody has to be level 30. It's not just the person who's hosting the game. It's everybody in the match has to be over level 30.
That's true.
So we can't go into a ranked match.
The hardcore moaned about it, about noobs coming in straight in. It's kind of it's what they moaned about.
Stick with me in horde mode. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We need to have a horde mode session soon.
Yeah, I hope we can do that, Mr. Tushi, because that would be really good to do a horde mode again. Because I think that was an incredible amount of fun.
Did you do the last one with us? Oh, you did, didn't you?
I did, sir. Yeah, and you did promise another one, but I know you've been busy at work and stuff like that. You know, delivering giant size.
Yes,
buildings.
we will get you
Devil-Ois.
back on. Don't worry. We will get you back on the show. Don't worry, Cerebral. We will. You don't need to have a fondle to get back on. You will. But I know the indie gamer has been working incredibly hard behind the scenes because he's always working on bits and bobs for the show. He's been watching this entire show the whole time. He's been working on stuff. He's assembled a panel of people to work to, you know, a great
Crack team of gamers.
Yeah. Plus, he's also got a judging panel, which I believe ain't on the show as well, that have been voting as well. So he's put a lot of work into it. He has.
Yep.
You know, and I really hope it pulls off for him. You know, I'll be watching. I will.
Hope it doesn't pull anything off of me.
Masuko's put on here. I had fun as noob during game night. He was far from a noob. He was a bloody good player, especially in frigging Hot Shots Racing.
Yeah.
He was doing really well in that game, kicking everybody's ass.
Wow, 25. He's got 25 people on his voting panel alone. That's big.
Jesus.
But at least it's fair then. He would have picked people that actually liked their indie games, though. To be fair, he would have catered pick them. You know.
Yeah. Indy's very careful about who he chooses.
No, I don't know.
Only the prestigious get on that. You know.
I have no idea how I'll blag my way in on that show. Then
You bring BJ. BJ.
Yes, sir.
When you're on the podcast, you put bums on seat. You're like a big DJ. You put bums on seats. You turn up. People turn up to see VJ.
No, I think Mr. Tushi does that better than me. He's the big time one amongst us.
Oh, definitely not.
He's on Twitter anyway.
He gets bummed off of seats.
Insane the amount of people that follow him.
I'm just an idiot on Twitter. Just myself.
So yeah, thanks for coming. Let's have a look. Removal Sanity, thanks for coming on.
No, thank you very much for having me. It's always lovely to be invited on.
Well, it's actually the co-host panel this week. Welcome, ACS Husk. Where am I? What do you mean, where are you?
You're in the duffel.
Well, can you tell people where they can find your Removal Sanity if they wish to?
Yeah, you can find me under Removal Sanity under Xbox or
The Garden Shed.
Minds. The Garden Shed, yeah, it's always there. Or Minds or Twitter, yeah. You can find me on those regards. Or YouTube as well. So just Removal Sanity, you'll find me there. Or on this lovely podcast.
Yep. Unless I'm on it, then he won't be as happy.
I'm always happy you're here, VJ, regardless of what you say. You know
Thank
that.
you, sir.
Nice.
Oh yeah, sorry, Stubbs, for if I took some of the topics off on a tangent and so on and so forth with Mr. Sanity.
Don't worry about it. It's a very chilled out show this week. It's all relaxed. You know, it's all just free flowing the way we like it. Yeah, you've been lurking, have you, Huss? That's good to hear. Yes, we will be doing the awards and a fun indie quiz and a few small giveaways to say thank you for the support. Be awesome to see all you guys and cheers for the support, Stubbs Gaming. Cheers, mate. I hope it really works out well for you.
Oh, without a doubt.
Also, lads, one by one, congratulations, Indy, on finally hitting 1,000 subscribers. It should have happened a long time ago.
Yeah,
Well deserved.
yeah. I'm with you, Stubbs.
Looking forward to 2,000.
Yeah, it gets to 5K next year. You will. Once you get to 1K, all them views will go up, mate. It's well deserved. It is getting 1K subs, mate. Big achievement. I knew you'd get there, but you done it within 2020, which is really good. You know. So, Mr. Tushi,
Yo.
where can people find you, even though everyone in the chat knows?
At the local
You
fish
can
and
find me
chippy.
on.
Because what I find is a lot of the
Oh.
time now, Mr. Tucci brings the community game night with him to the podcast.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in here that go on there. We'll have a good time though. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter and Xbox as Mr. Tushy, even on PS4. I'm not on there that much. You can find me on the Community Game Night every Saturday, 9 p.m. UK time. This week we're playing Rainbow Six Siege and Wreckfest.
Ooh,
We should be
Oh,
fun.
okay. Can't we
Ooh.
play Gears? Or did I miss that one?
You missed that one last week.
I know. Everyone wondered where it was. Yeah, thanks for coming on. And next week, it's the same. It's just us for next week. We're going to be talking about classic console stories, retro gaming, and anything else. Really, it's the eve before. It's the eve before Christmas Eve. It is.
Probably what have we eaten?
Yeah.
Have you seen Paul's comment?
Somewhere.
It made me laugh. When VJ was saying sorry about the chatting, he said that it's okay, VJ. Stubbs muted you for about 20 minutes and you never noticed.
The thing is, I do have the power to do that.
Tasting Paul has me in stitches every time if he types anything or talks or oh, that he's such a funny guy.
We'll have to get him back on. We will.
Definitely.
So next week, it's in a minute. It's just us four doing a classic console talk for the Christmas special. Because it was actually Mr. Tushi's idea. It was that one because
it's soon different, isn't it? We're all from a We've all had plenty of generations of gaming in us. We all go back to the 8-bit and onwards, don't we? So
and Sam Fox.
And Sam Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, thanks for stopping by, everyone. You can find me at Stubbs Gaming on Twitter, and if you want to hit the subscribe button, you can, and like. And we've actually got a dislike, which doesn't bother me. But we've got. Let's have a look. We've got 23 likes to 1 dislike, so doing well. Anyway, it's been fun. It has. Thanks everyone for stopping by as always. Much appreciated. Thanks Blue Moon FC. Thanks the Indie Gamer, Assassin Looper, Marley, Misuku, Fastback, Matt Barnes, Cerebral Paul, ACS Husk, Pong Soul, Mr. Toshi, Pong Soul, and even though Pong Soul actually made a tweet promoting the show, he tagged the wrong VJ in, some guy from Britain. He did. He made a tweet again because the guy was like, I think you've tagged the wrong guy in. And thanks, James Richardson, Dragon Wolf, Shizno Elite,
Masuko.
Yeah, I've said Masuko, four guys with quarter clowns. Yeah, that's Marley. I keep saying Marley because he DM'd me saying just call me Marley on the show if you want. It's what everyone else calls me. So I am. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming on.
Yeah, and anyone who's listening but not in the chat, community chat.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for stopping by. And also, if you are listening after the fact, I'd really appreciate it. Or even if you are in the chat, if you could leave a comment on the actual video and it goes back up again, because it really helps people see the show. It does. Anyway, thanks everyone for stopping by. It's been fun. And I'll see you all soon.
Have a good one.